Good morning, Malcolm Nance.
Good morning, Steffi. How are you?
I am fine, sir. I was reading your tweets earlier, and I did not serve like you did, but I echo your thoughts. You said peak disgust achieved. General Kelly must resign today, or Gold Star family should condemn him. I mean, just when you think he cannot get more despicable, he does, right?
That was absolutely disgusting. And let me tell you, there was no one more upset than my wife. And you know, they say in the military, a military wife, a Navy wife, Army wife is the hardest job in the armed forces. They're the ones who have to stay at home, take care of the finances, take care of the children, take care of the house, while we're off doing bombs, guns, and helicopter rides and all the fun things, even though some of them are traumatic. But, when we're out having that brotherhood, they have the sisterhood of military wives and dependents who have to stay back here and put up with it and then have to fear for our lives every day. And for Donald Trump to come out and use the dead son of General Kelly is just peak disgust. I didn't think I could get more disgusted. Yeah. Well, he worked at it.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. You tweeted, if anyone used the death of my military family to make cheap attacks like this, I would spit in his face, walk out, and turn in my badge.
Yeah.
What is up with John Kelly? I mean, and they used him again yesterday as a human shield that, as you said, he was in the room. You tweeted Kelly was in the room. So what? That's not a denial. That's misdirection. Little can be believed from the Trump camp at this point. And, now they've had to backtrack once again when the president's proven to be a liar, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And CNN reported that General Kelly was blindsided, that he did not know that they were going to invoke his dead son's memory in order to attack President Obama, which was just a flat-out lie.
Yeah.
There is never, we attacked President Obama technically and every other president that's existed. Now we're seeing from reporting at CNN, the Washington Post, Trump didn't call everybody. Trump just lies. And it's just time, that like Representative Wilson said yesterday, the man just lies, and it's time for everybody to put their foot down. And on these matters of honor, these matters of our families and our service members who are going over there and risking their lives and the families that they leave behind, we cannot allow a lie like this to stand. It's just a matter of personal honor and national honor. And believe it or not, I've been attacked just in the last 24 hours for saying that General Kelly should stand up for his own personal and national honor. And it's just disgusting by people who supposedly call themselves, on the fringy, crazy left, but this is ridiculous.
Yeah.
We're just in a point.
You said honor.
People don't understand what it means.
You tweeted honor is self-sacrifice and courage. If Kelly doesn't resign after this, he's lost all sense of honor. Do you honestly think like he really just thinks he is there to prevent something worse and catastrophic? I can't imagine why he's still there.
If he is, then he thinks that he's doing a higher calling for the nation. That's a possibility. But I'm also hearing from journalists who covered him at Department of Homeland Security that he was pretty much a supporter of all the anti-immigration policies. He was an enthusiastic supporter of building the border wall. I just don't know where his line is.
Yeah.
And for everyone, for the last 48 hours, everybody that I know that's been in the armed forces or still serves have just been apoplectic over these statements. Just the attacking of Staff Sergeant Johnson's wife and just making it another Gold Star family piñata. But anyone with real honor, a sense of dedication to the nation, would understand that there's a line that their resignation is as high a serving as trying to be the adult daycare manager.
Yeah. Well, your one tweet went right to something that I thought, too. You said Trump has a simpleton's mind about war. It's all Marine uniforms, faux toughness, and the flag. He shuns death/failure like the four servicemen killed in Niger. That's what I was thinking. He didn't mention it because it makes it, it's like, failure's going to rub off. It's going to rub off on him, right? It doesn't, support his storyline that we're doing more against ISIS in a few months than Obama ever did, and whatever, right? His psychotic obsession with Obama.
I met a woman in New York City the other day. She saw me coming out of a hotel as I was heading to 30 Rock, and she pulled me aside. She goes, she was in her 70s, and she says, I have been a clinical psychiatrist my entire life. This man has narcissistic personality disorder with sociopathic tendencies, which means he has no ability to have empathy for human beings.
Yeah.
And we've seen it time and time again. And I'm not saying this because I'm politically against him. I'm not saying, but I've seen the evidence. And my world is all empirical, right?
Yeah.
I have to see the data. The data is clear. He didn't make a statement for 2 weeks. And then to come out, almost 2 weeks, and then to come out, we find from Washington Post reporting yesterday that a sympathy statement was drafted within 24 hours, and the White House would not sign off on it. There's just some psychological flaw that's going on here, and it is a sign of danger. Yeah. And I have been hammering this since before the election, and God knows since the middle of last summer, that we're seeing all these indications that the United States is under attack. I never thought that I would actually have to say that, the way that I feel now is that the president is unmanageable and should not be in the office.
Listen, I'm terrified when you tweet, "This is the most dangerous of all presidents." I mean, in terms of how despicable he is, Malcolm, we were mentioning, a caller mentioned the botched Yemen raid. I mean, that's where it started, where he blamed the generals, where he should not have ordered the raid. They did not have the proper intelligence. You remember that whole... and we lost a Navy SEAL, and he blamed the generals. Then when he said the thing about other presidents didn't do this, he said, "Oh, all I can do is ask my generals." I'm like, those generals need to stand up and say, "We told him no such thing," and resign.
The Obama administration canceled that mission 3 times because they didn't have enough on-the-ground intelligence.
Right.
The compound was in the middle of a village that they weren't sure whether it was friendly or opposed to them. It was supposedly friendly, but they seemed to have no problem having this massive al-Qaeda compound. They didn't know whether the individual who was the target was actually there. These intelligence factors are no-go factors. When a president signs off, these are called national mission units that carry out these Tier 1, top-of-the-line special operations raid, the SEAL Team 6 Delta Force. The president must personally sign off on those missions. President Obama would not do it. Now, this is the man who signed off on the bin Laden raid to fly into the middle of Pakistan next to their West Point and go into a building and shoot a man in the face, right?
Yeah.
And so, when the time comes, a president, when he has all the factors, he has the good information and intelligence, they'll do it. Trump apparently did this over dinner, if I'm not mistaken, and just wanted to get something under his belt to look tough,
and
kill the team guy.
But as usual, blamed Obama and his generals. Remember, they lost the Navy SEAL. Anyway,
go on.
Malcolm, let's get to Trump Russia, because obviously that's what we're all
Mueller,
the Mueller, the wood chipper of justice. So we just had Reince Priebus, right, testified. Sean Spicer. I love this story. Well, Priebus has been careful not to criticize the president openly. Sources who've spoken to him say he's not happy the way he was treated by Trump and his family. He was champing at the bit to testify. So, obviously there's a lot of Lewandowski, right, is going to be interviewed next, right? Senate staffers. So what do you go ahead.
If you look at the pattern of people that they're interviewing, you'll see here a very clear prosecutorial advance towards from people that are believed to be innocent but witnesses that are focusing their attention towards the guilty. But to do that, what you have to do is you have to have the parameters of everyone who was there. You want to test the atmosphere, so to speak. Not everyone was aware of the inner workings of the Trump cabinet, but Reince Priebus knew everything that went on right up to the moment that people went down the hallway and closed the door for private meetings with President Trump. Same thing can be said for Lewandowski and everyone else. They are building the case of prosecutorial witnesses who will testify that door closed and they have no idea what went on behind the door. Then they will go after everybody who was involved in the private conversation about the Donald Trump Jr. meeting with the Russians, about drafting the false statement, covering up that meeting on Air Force One, about, the firing of Comey. Everything will be used against him. And this is why Priebus didn't have to say anything amazing other than the truth. And the truth leads almost clearly to an obstruction of justice charge because Donald Trump said it to, Lester Holt on TV publicly, and then told the Russians.
Malcolm, Gabe Sherman writes in Vanity Fair yesterday, the person in Trump's orbit who may have the most to be worried about in Priebus's testimony is Jared Kushner. Priebus has knowledge of Kushner's proximity to the decision to fire Comey during a weekend at Trump's golf club. So obviously, a lot of that goes to the obstruction case, right?
Sure, and I don't see how Ivanka Trump gets a pass on that charge because she was also in the room.
Right.
And this was that meeting in which they were, led to a door and the door was closed and Priebus was cut out of it. And he's going to go state's evidence. He's going to say, well, I didn't do anything related to that, but I did see Ivanka, Jared, and, maybe Steve Bannon walk into that room and close the door. And right there, out of that came this decision to fire Comey the next day. You have conspiracy behind that door. And that's what the job of Mueller is going to be, is to bring that circle down to a very, very tight crew, and then he's going to apply pressure, and they're going to talk on each other.
Can I just say he seems to have gotten just a font of fantastic advice from Ivanka and Jared, didn't he? There was the story recently that Ivanka was the one that told him to choose Michael Flynn.
Oh, yeah, they're all winners. But, I know every day people come to me and they go, Malcolm, when is this going to end? I need this to hurry up.
Yeah.
You know what? This story's going to be great on its own. Okay? Just let the wood chipper of justice on the freight train of democracy take its toll. And, and one last warning, I do this every month. Stop listening to crazy people on the internet tell you they have all the secret sauce about what's going on in the Mueller investigation. Rachel Maddow said it the other day that if it's not Mueller's office ain't talking.
Yeah.
But you can see who they're going after by his moves. Watch the moves, not crazy Team Patriot people.
And Malcolm, they're obviously, as we know, Russia is still here. The latest headline: Russia Twitter bots invade Roy Moore's account. They're obviously. And meanwhile, once again, he's not acting like an innocent person. He's trying to install someone that would basically be a mole, right, to keep an eye on Mueller's investigation. His judicial nominee advised the White House on a response to the Russia probe. What do you see in terms of, obviously there was a report out yesterday that he was thinking of firing Mueller, and someone stopped him, whether it was Kelly or whatever. Where do you see this going, and what is the relative time frame, do you think?
I was asked this the other day on national news, and to tell you the truth, there is a pathway where Trump will fire Mueller, and that's if he thinks that at any time, if Sessions is called before the special counsel in a private meeting, and at that point, he won't know what's going on in the investigation, even if Sessions were to come out and tell him the truth, right? He would go completely buggy. He would get rid of Sessions. He would get rid of Rosenstein, and then you would see him try to fire Mueller. Because if Sessions were to come in, even Sessions telling the truth and not really implicating Trump would implicate Trump, because we know what the truth is. The truth is that he did it over Trump-Russia, and that's obstruction of justice. And this is why Sessions danced so much yesterday, because he was literally being, almost in a perjury trap between Leahy, Blumenthal, and Franken. Every time the truth comes out, it gets worse for Trump, not so much for all the people below him.
Yep. And I thank you for your final tweet, which I know will make Trump's head explode, where you said, damn, even Obama's salute was perfect.
It was. Yeah. I got to tell you, that was President Obama's first day. I believe it was the second day in office, and he went to Dover Air Force Base to break the blockade that the Bush administration had done on meeting bodies which had returned. And President Obama had 317 casualties come from Afghanistan and Iraq while he was there before he could wind the war down. I think we've had 11 in Afghanistan and 4 in Iraq, if I'm not mistaken, and 17 sailors that were killed in accidents this year for President Trump. I mean, Lincoln wrote letters for virtually everybody.
Yeah.
And President Obama went to Dover, met the casket, and his salute was like he had gone to salute school.
Yeah.
It's just horrific that he would be dragged in this way, and that the sacred honor of our dead would be dragged as well.
Yeah, I know everybody was doing on TV last night the Lincoln letter. The President Lincoln letter is so beautiful. It reminds me of the GIF of when Melania and Donald are standing in front of the Lincoln Memorial and he's just giving him the bird. I think double birds. I think because I can't imagine, right?
The norms of the presidency have to be reestablished. We
Yeah.
are in a very, very dangerous and bad place.
Yep, absolutely. Malcolm, great stuff. See you next week, honey.
All right, take care.
All right, there he goes, Malcolm Nance.